Hi, I'm Katie Duke, and I've been a nurse for over 20 years. Listen, I used to think that I was my most stylish in my 20s, but honestly, style and confidence only get better with age. And that is why I love Figs. These scrubs are beautiful, comfortable, and they are built to last. They're not those boxy, scratchy uniforms that we all started out in. No. These fit perfectly. They feel amazing, and the quality is just wow! My favorite color? Burgundy. It's chic, it's timeless, and it's even the same color as my apartment, because I'm kind of obsessed with it. And I love adding custom embroidery to make my scrubs as personal as my style. And since I work in telehealth, my embroidered figs even double as my ID badge. It's never too late to reinvent yourself or your scrubs. Get 15% off your first order at wearfigs.com with the code FIGSRX. That's wearfigs.com, code FIGSRX for 15% off your first order.
When it came to building a family. So my wife had to eat organ meats, but there's no way that I could cook them that she would eat them because they're very potent. And, I'm not the greatest chef. I'll admit that. So every which way I tried to cook it for her to eat it, she could not stand it. She does not like the smell, the taste, the texture, any of this stuff. So I started encapsulating it. She took it and she's like, this is a home run. I can have it like this all day long. Beautiful, amazing. So 2 kids later, 2 healthy kids later, we're 2 thumbs up. So, but what ended up happening is she had it like that. And you know what? Every client that I had for my nutrition business, I also failed to get them to eat whole animals. So they were relying on,
Sit back and relax and get ready for another exclusive episode of the Online Marketing Secrets Podcast with Lopez.
This episode is brought to you by the best AI software online called Goody. That's Goody. Goody will help you create all content for your blogs, websites, newsletters, articles, ads, and even pictures, LinkedIn posts, Twitter, you name it. All you got to do is go to lopezthesane.com/Goody. That's Goody. And the best part about Goody is absolutely free. That's right. It's free for the first 7 days. You can cancel at any time. Goody will help you create all your contents for your blogs and websites online. And it's 100% absolutely free, full access for the first 7 days. All you got to do, just go to my website. That's lopezthesane.com/Goody. That's Goody. Or just click the link in the show notes and get started today. Welcome to another episode of the Online Marketing Secrets Podcast. I'm your host, Lopez. So like and share this episode. So with that being said, any questions, any concerns, feel free to send your emails either in my DMs on Instagram, or you can go to my website, my personal website at lopezthesane.com and click on the contact tab, and you can reach me there as well. So today I have another special guest for you. My guest today is the owner and president of Higher Healths, and he's on a mission to bring real food to real people. He started a supplement company from scratch, no experience, organic food, no processed food, and he's doing it one person at a time. My special guest today is Nigel O'Quinn. Welcome to the show. So, where you from?
I'm from originally, and your listeners, you've probably already picked up on it in our previous conversation. But originally, I'm from Canada. So I'm a prairie boy from Saskatchewan, Canada, but now, just over 2 years ago, I live in Columbia Falls, Montana, as we're expanding our U.S. company now because we've got Americans that properly demand and want American beef. So we're here now.
Oh, wow. That's nice, man. I've never been in the Montana area.
Oh, man, is it ever beautiful. It's great. You know what? At the end of the day, especially for those that love God, love guns, love freedom, Montana is a great place. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah. So how did you get into food? I would say whole food business, beef business. Was it something that you always wanted to do, or was it a family thing, or what?
Yeah, I had a pretty early calling. I started through sports, ended up in a gym. 13 I started, and then 14 I had a bit of a mentor that was in there, and I was there almost every day. And then the owner kind of took notice, and he's like, Ron was his name. Hey kid, do you want a job? And so I was thrilled about that, and I started reading, and I always had this special kind of calling and interest for nutrition. I wanted to know how the human body operated and what was the optimal fuel, So I had a real early interest in finding out what would make an athlete excel and perform at a better level given what fuel they were eating. So that led me to kinesiology. So I found myself in a kinesiology health and nutrition major with that. And then, out of university, like so many people, I ended up being the expert, but I also had the worst diet of my life. I had developed gut issues because what happens when you go to university or college is you become the expert on the food guide, right? That's your scope of practice. That's what you're learning. So it's a real bummer, essentially. You learn all this stuff, you become the expert, and then you wake up one day with the absolute worst gastrointestinal issues that you can imagine. So there's another mentor of mine that said, when these symptoms arrive or these problems arrive, that means your guru essentially has arrived. It's time to start learning, right? And so I started my own learning, and I came across a few books and folks that were talking completely against what I had learned in university and college classes. And so that really drew me in, and I eventually became a functional diagnostic nutritionist. And the one book that really pulled to me, that fixed my own diet and fixed my own issues, was a book called Deep Nutrition. And essentially what you learn in deep nutrition is to eat real food. Go figure, right? Well, what you become is, in university, college, is you become a processed food sales expert. That's what you become. Kind of like how we're seeing a lot of physicians, doctors, get into their industries and become somewhat pharmaceutical sales reps, right? They don't know, they cover nutrition for all of 1 week, and then they're rubbing elbows with pharmaceutical reps the rest of the time. And so when you go see a doctor and you have symptoms, you have issues, what do they recommend? Do they tackle nutrition? Do they tell you to go exercise and move more? Maybe, if you're lucky, maybe you might get a physician that's got some interest in that. But ultimately, what do you leave with? A prescription. That's what you leave with, right? And so when you go to college, university, your scope of practice is essentially, it's processed foods, right? It's things that come in boxes now. It's things that come, mixed with, and they're no longer recognizable, right? They're corn, they're wheat. And And what are you supposed to be eating if you follow the food guide? Well, you're supposed to be eating 6 to 12 servings of grains. That's what you're supposed to be eating, right? Meat became the enemy. Saturated fat became the enemy. And just like that, voila, I lost my health, right? So what I learned in deep nutrition was, oh, actually real food is not the enemy. It will help you. And how did our ancestors eat? Well, they ate a lot of meat from the bone. They didn't waste anything, right? The organ meats were prized. These things got consumed. They didn't just get thrown away. Our ancestors didn't just walk into a grocery store, go pick out a box of chicken breast and give no thought to the rest of the chicken as if it had no value, right? They didn't just go walk into a butcher shop and pick out T-bones or the ribeye and give no thought to the rest of the cow. No, they knew where the meat come from if they didn't harvest it themselves, and they used everything, right? The bones, the organ meats, absolutely everything. And so that's what I learned getting connected with deep nutrition. And the very next hunt, it was fall, and I went out hunting with my brother and a cousin, Daryl, and we got a beautiful whitetail buck, and I harvested the whole thing. You know, I started cutting up the bones because I was going to go make my own stock right from the bones. And my brother and cousin are, what are you doing? Well, I'm not wasting anything here, gentlemen. So I took the liver, I took the heart, I took the kidneys, and that was the very first liver that I got back into my diet, Lopez. And words can't really describe this properly, but how I felt as soon as that liver went into my body, it changed my life. I had energy like I had never felt before. And I was like, there is just way too much to real food and being a real human being in how it works, right? So it was then that I discovered the bioavailability of an extremely nutrient-dense food found in organ meats. And my energy and just overall wellness, my brain fog, like my mental clarity, my cognitive function elevated on another level that I hadn't felt in years, right? Since I was a teenager. So that was my introduction into this food, coming from a background that steered me in a direction to highly processed foods and supplementation, because those foods don't have what it needs. You definitely need to supplement. And becoming that expert into finding my way back into foods that were real, that our ancestors consumed and had none of the symptoms and issues that we find ourselves with today, right? Before the 1900s, there was essentially no diabetes, no heart attacks, no obesity, no tooth decay, no mental and cognitive issues, mental health issues that we see today. None of this existed before the 1900s, right? Even just you take one thing like sugar, the amounts that were consumed in the late 1800s, well, you're looking at 3-4 tablespoons worth. Well, now we're looking at pounds and kilograms worth. We're looking at over 100 pounds now per year that the average human being is consuming in sugar, which is just unbelievable, right? So there's major changes that have happened. And so long story short, long story long here is what I went on a tangent there, Lopez. That's kind of my background and how I found myself with this interest in nutrition. And when I got sick, that interest got even more passionate for me. I really wanted to know what made human beings operate optimally.
Yeah. It sounds like your health problems motivated you to want to do better and explore and start to do your own thing and whatnot. I always tell people that when I was growing up, my grandmother was always old. When I was born, she was old. She was 65 when I was born, right? And she never was sick. All her friends, none of them was sick. I can't even remember somebody even being a diabetic when I was young, growing up. I didn't start seeing people talk about being a diabetic until like the late 80s. I didn't really, it wasn't a whole lot of people dying like it is today. I'm like, and it wasn't like today, you have whole departments at the hospital specifically for a certain type of sickness. That wasn't like that when I was growing up. I said, this is crazy. You gotta think. I lived in Atlanta for 11 years. You got a big ass building downtown Atlanta, 20 stories high, specifically for this type of illness. I was like, this is crazy, man. And specifically for women. And I'm like, everybody's walking around, that, yeah, I know they're doing the job, but this is not normal. This is like, wow, man. I didn't see anything like that when I was growing up. Now, of course, there were always sick people, but not like it is today. This is like next level. And then you have men and women going into doctors' offices, like they're acting like whatever's going on with them is normal, and no one ever really thinks about maybe it's something that I'm eating that's making me feel this way, or nobody thinks about, or they just take they just listen to the doctor or whatever, and when they leave out of there, they getting a pill on the way out. That proper protocol. So I'm like, I think I always say I'm lucky because I have older people in my family, and my grandmother died. She's 102 in like 2016, right? She died. So, and I have older people in my family, and they told me how it used to be when they were growing up. And I listened to a lot of that stuff, and I look at it today, and I'm like, well, today definitely ain't working. Doesn't take a genius to figure this out.
That's so true, right? We can see it. We've got older generations that we can, discuss this stuff with. It's very real. These big, huge hospitals are needed because they developed a business model, and it's falsely called the healthcare system. The real name of it is the sick care system, and it is a big, huge business model. And you didn't see people with obesity and diabetes in your grandmother's age, right? Here's another thing, your grandmother's age. I bet she doesn't know a single person with autism, or even like your parents' age. Do they know anybody, like they themselves or anybody that they know? Did they know of anybody that had autism? No, probably not, right? And then allergies. Well, when did your grandparents have all these? There's a peanut allergy. There's a feather allergy. There's it's insane. It's unlimited. Well, that's because the sick care business model, it works really well, and it's growing exponentially. And you mentioned something. They've got really wise, like in the hospital, they've got all these different categories. So you've got these physicians now that are experts in these divisions, right? Like a head expert, a nose expert, a foot expert, a gut expert, a heart, a cardiologist expert. You've got everything's broken up, and that's the way that like allopathic medicine is. It's very individual. And what's interesting is that there's the supplement industry is kind of very similar in that it's all isolated. You've got vitamin A, you go get your vitamin A, you go get your vitamin B, your vitamin D, they've all been separated, but nothing like that works in nature at all. The physicians are all isolated, but how does the body work? Well, it works holistically. Like it all works synergistically together. If something happens to one organ, the other organs have to pick up the workload. to compensate for that, right? You get a hurt foot, well, you have to compensate. Now you have to balance a little bit more, has to take on from the other leg. Like everything's included. It works holistically, and so does nutrition. Vitamin A does not work well alone. Iron doesn't work well alone. They work synergistically with loads of other vitamins, minerals, cofactors together, which is why they absorb much better when they're together with these other vitamins and minerals. They don't work well isolated on their own. So yeah, like the whole setup is very much a sick care system that our grandparents would not have seen. Like these big buildings, they need to make them bigger because the sick care model is a growing business, right? It's insane. Or we as human beings can take responsibility and recognize that our physicians aren't looking after those foundational things that we need, which would be included in the healthcare system, which would look at our diet, would look at our rest, would look at our exercise, would look at our stress reduction. But these models do not include a holistic, field. And so that's where naturopathic doctor, if you want health, you got to go to a naturopathic doctor or, somebody that's going to look at your system as a whole. And yeah, but great noticing that because our grandparents would never believe what's out there now. And the issues that we're facing or that our kids are facing today, they're unheard of in their time.
Yeah, that's true. So with, your experiences and your trials and tribulations and everything, what made you say, hey, I'm going to start a business and I'm going to put beef in the bottle? What gave you the confidence to say, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to launch this?
Yeah. What made a guy that's not an entrepreneur an entrepreneur? It was my wife was the tipping point for me, actually, because I became a whole animal eater and I had been that way for years, well before I even met my wife. But we were getting ready to build a family. And so this might sound weird to a lot of people, but eating organ meats is a non-negotiable for me when it came to building a family. So my wife had to eat organ meats, but there's no way that I could cook them that she would eat them because they're very potent. And, I'm not the greatest chef. I'll admit that. So every which way I tried to cook it for her to eat it, she could not stand it. She does not like the smell, the taste, the texture, any of this stuff. So I started encapsulating it. She took it and she's like, this is a home run. I can have it like this all day long. Beautiful, amazing. So 2 kids later, 2 healthy kids later, we're 2 thumbs up. So, but what ended up happening is she had it like that. And you know what? Every client that I had for my nutrition business, I also failed to get them to eat whole animals. So they were relying on, plant-based multivitamins, synthetics, things like that to pick up the slack that was going on in their diet. And what ended up happening is I shared it with them and I could not believe the results that came back. I had energy. I had energy. So I had 2 carnivores. I had somebody that was doing keto, somebody that was doing paleo. So people that were quite dialed in on their nutrition, they moved well as well. They were hitting the gym. They weren't stagnant. These were relatively, considering, super healthy people that I was working with that saw amazing results with their energy. I had a gentleman that is on hormone replacement therapy. So he's on testosterone and he saw his testosterone levels go up, and he does blood panels every month. And his physician, who is his dear friend, that's why he's doing this every month, because it's on the house, right? And he likes to work with that stuff and pay attention. Said, what are you taking? Because I want to start this as well. So that's how that kind of went. I had my friend Tony started sleeping crazy insomnia. But turns out the riboflavin B2 is amazing for helping insomnia. So it helping folks that can't sleep well. They're starting to get this vitamin, the building blocks, so that they can actually secrete proper melatonin to go to sleep, right? I had a few female clients that reported better hormone balance, one of which was in flat out in menopause, that saw a shift in hot flashes because her hormones were starting to balance out a little bit better, right? Because the building blocks were being provided for proper hormone production and to allow that balance to occur. So just it became obvious to me, wow, there's maybe a better way that I can provide value to more people if my immediate clients are seeing these improvements. So I decided that there we go, let's make a business of this. So, and then for your listeners, that business started just over 4.5 years ago in Canada. And now I don't know if your listeners are up to date on what's going on in Canada, but there's a huge crunch down right now on businesses in general, but especially those that are in the health and food space. They're cracking down on natural health products. Essentially, long story short, if you're not a pharmaceutical company, they don't really want you operating in Canada. That's the gist of it. Okay. So 3-4 months into business there, I had Health Canada reaching out via email, phone call, and mail, sending me cease and desist letters and threatening phone calls to shut down, right? So what had happened, though, is unfortunately for them, fortunately for me, from a business standpoint, and I think maybe this adds value to your listeners, to a bootstrapping startup business, is I already told my wife that I threw in my last penny into my business. I was all in. Essentially, I'd burned the ships, right? I was all in. There was no turning back. So Health Canada had to come after me, and they had to take my equipment away for me to stop, because I was not stopping. I was all in. And essentially, I ended up calling their bluff. I ignored the cease and desist letters. I answered the phone calls. No, not shutting down, not doing this. I'm following these protocols from the CFIA. I started working on the NPNs that I needed to be legal, I guess, under the Health Canada standard that I didn't even fit under. I fit under the Canadian health food industry properly. So I started doing the background work legally from their standpoint, which I didn't even fit. And eventually they just had to let it go. They had to stop. And I'm now fully legal in Canada. I have the NPNs. I've paid big money for that. I've got the site licensed facility to do healthy food in there. I built that all myself out of Leduc, Alberta is where that is. And so the other great phone call that I got, though, at month 3 was I got emails from Americans reaching out. Americans wanted, at the very least, a North American option for their meat, for their organ meat. And all I had for competitors was people and Americans that were supporting overseas farmers for their product out of New Zealand, Argentina, Australia, but nobody was supporting American regenerative farmers with grass-fed, grass-finished programs, which is all I do, is regenerative, grass-fed, grass-finished. So the purest, greatest product that you can. No interventions with big pharma or big ag. So no pesticides, herbicides, insecticides, like nothing that belongs on the land or in the animals, just real food for them. And so I started getting emails from them. And that's where I made the decision to go to the US. So I moved to Columbia Falls, Montana, which is 9 hours south of where my warehouse is in Canada. And I started making the connections with American regenerative farmers out here. Incredible people, incredible farming practices. And it's a shame that the American government isn't recognizing the American farmers like they should be, instead of second-class farmers, and that overseas farmers can do it better, which is absolutely a scam. It's false. These guys are incredible. So we work directly with them. Currently, all of our farms are based out of Montana, so it's amazing. I'm able to go walk the land, see their farming philosophy at hand, and we get the organ meats directly from them, and it's all done in-house. As a result of my food trust issues, I don't trust anybody to make a product that is to our standards. So it's all made in-house. It's handmade, no fillers, no flow agents, just 100% pure organ meats inside our capsules. The capsules themselves are 100% bovine collagen, so just real food. So that was it. That was the start to my business and where it took off. It took off from just seeing that there was tremendous value in getting real food back into people's diets. Because what we have for a food supply right now is a very nutritionally deficient food supply. So even the customers that I had that I thought were top notch, eating pretty solid carnivore, keto, paleo diets, dialed in, exercising, moving well, sleeping reasonably well, I thought they had it all dialed in. Yet what we discovered is that they had nutritional deficiencies. And that was made clear when they introduced a very nutritionally dense food back into their diet. So I recognized that gap, that nutritional gap, and that became my new job. I had to get this back into people's diets so that they could see these improvements in their lives, which were greater improvements than I was making individually one-on-one with my clients. And that's it in a nutshell. We have a very nutritionally depleted, deficient society, and many people have no idea how deficient they are because of our food supply. So unless you are hunting, sourcing your own food from regenerative farmers, and you're growing your own garden, or you're sourcing from somebody that is from actual soil that is rich and not depleted from monocrop agriculture, so big ag, things are going to change when you include nutrient dense foods. And here's one of our two large categories that we now have as customers are the low iron anemic. And we're able to get people off of a 150 milligram capsule for synthetic iron that comes with side effects, gut aches, gastrointestinal issues across the board. Get them off of 150 milligrams synthetic and onto 2.2 milligrams of heme iron that's found in our beef liver. That's it. That's the difference between real food and fake food, right? And then the other one is that I'm super pumped and proud about is that we're elevating fertility levels in human beings. So we're able to get people pregnant again, people that have even tried IVF and failed after years of trying to have a baby. They're getting pregnant after 60, 90 days hopping on nutrient dense organ meats. Right? Fertility's going up, testosterone's going up, all hormone balance across the board is happening when people actually provide the building blocks so that their body can manufacture this stuff again.
That's wonderful, man. One thing I've observed over here when it comes to FDA, they're kind of let's say if you have herbs or any type of anything involved healing the body, over here they'll say, hey, don't say you can cure anything. You can sell whatever you want to sell, but they'll say, hey, don't say it's a cure. And they say you'll be fine. Have a nice day, sir. That's how it is over here.
Right.
It's a play on words over here.
That's right. It's be mindful of what claims you make, for sure. Yeah. But the reality, it's a two-tiered system kind of thing. If you're coming from the pharmaceutical angle, you can use that and you can feel okay about that, right? But last time I checked, cancer wasn't due to a deficiency in chemotherapy.
No.
Right?
No.
It was. There's your cognitive ability to pay attention wasn't due to a deficiency in ADHD drugs,
No.
in Ritalin, right? All these pharmaceuticals and whatnot, like we don't have a single deficiency in a pharmaceutical drug, yet that is their answer, and they're allowed to make the claims of curing. This is the go-to. We can help you with this by using this. No.
Yeah. I always looked at that. To me, that's a scam. I give you an example. Like I had a friend, right? I had a friend that was strung out on, I think he was on heroin, some type of drug, man, right? So they put him in the rehab, right? And they put him on more drugs. I'm like, wait a minute. if he's already getting high, and now he's gonna be on more drugs, how's that gonna help? Yeah. And he ended up dying. I'm like, that don't make no sense. It's just like when you're a young kid, take a young kid. It's a young kid hyper or whatever, his sugar levels. Okay, stop giving them candy. Right? They'll be like, oh, take this pill. Well, how's that gonna help? The pill's gonna make him go to sleep and be drowsy. Yeah. None of that makes no sense. I always looked at it like that's a scam.
It's a total scam. You're right. Like we've got, what is it, like 25%, of kids, over 18 are now on mental health medications. Yeah. 25%, 40% of kids that are entering high school now are overweight.
Yeah.
50% of our adult population is now overweight and has diabetes or pre-diabetes. The answer, and hey, here's the biggest one, is that the number 3 leading cause of death is doctors.
Oh yeah.
So if you want to live, the best thing you can do is be proactive, take responsibility for your health and movement, and stay out of the hospital. Without a doubt, stay out of the hospital, because they are going to put you on a drug. And that's so sad to hear that. And there's so many stories like that. Your friend on heroin, well, let's get him hooked onto another drug. That's the response.
Yeah. I have a doctor. He told me like 20 years ago. He said, look, stay away from that hospital unless you're bleeding to death or you got a broken bone or something like that. But if you go in that hospital, man, especially if you go in the wrong hospital, you might not make it out of there.
That's right, and that's where they belong. That's where they work really well. Like that's where their expertise is trauma, right? Yeah. You got something emergency, you got shot or you got stabbed or whatever. Yes, there you go. Watch them go to work. They do incredible work, can save lives in that sense. But when it comes to your health, no, that it's not found in a hospital. No way. And it's just like food. It's not found in a lab. No. It's found from the land.
Yeah, exactly. So when it comes to a whole food business, you don't have to get into the specific numbers or anything like that. But is it a heavy funded business? The launch and everything.
You know what? No, I didn't do anything in a major rush, and I'm sure many business owners and really savvy entrepreneurs would be like, "Wow, did you ever butcher that and do that wrong?" Probably. I mean, there's many more better business people than I am out there. That's for sure. But how I ended up doing it was I took this idea where I was able to help people, so add value to a marketplace that was desperately needed. And as the profits came in, I literally grew my business from those profits. So I didn't use much out of the pocket to do that. And in fact, I ended up building, I built this out of my garage is how that all started. And then I took the profits from that and I was able to build, a $320,000 site licensed facility to do this thing on a whole nother level of professionalism. And that's how that started. was actually just using the revenue, using the profits that I was making from my product to keep building this to the next step. So that's how. So really, truly, quite bootstrapped from the ground up.
Gotcha. So what did you say to the farmers? Because you coming from Canada, Montana. What do you say? How did you approach the farmers as far as you telling them what you got, what you have to offer? How do you negotiate that?
Yeah, like how did I negotiate that and have those conversations with the American farmers? Yeah. So when I came over, what I did is I just looked online using that resource to find regenerative farms that have grass-fed, grass-finished cattle programs only. So I didn't have to waste my time with any conventional beef producers at all, which, yeah, I would never use because I would never want to eat that product. I don't want cattle that have been fed antibiotics and had all these unnecessary vaccines and then fattened up for the last 90 to 120 days in a feedlot, eating foods that aren't native to the animal that just make them sick, causing you to have a sick product, a less than optimal healthy product. So that's not my game. I only work with farmers that work with the land. So that is the regenerative farming category, and that also have grass-fed, grass-finished cattle. So I reached out, made phone calls and said, hey, for example, one of my farms, Oxbow, Bart Morris, brilliant guy, amazing farmer, reach out to a Bart Morris and say, hey, Bart, I'm Nigel O'Quinn from Higher Health USA. Here's what I do. And it looks like you have the farming practices that I believe in and that I support. Would you be open to me having a look at the farm and checking things out? And if you've got some organ meats available, for me to potentially be a recurring buyer. And so, yeah, great conversation, and it all fits. So I would head out there, met Bart for the first time, shook his hand. He took me out on his gator, and we toured the land and saw the land and saw kind of all the acres that his cattle would be and his rotational crop grazing that he would utilize, how he was restoring the land and using the regenerative model. Seeing that he doesn't use any pharmaceutical or big ag products, so no pesticides, no herbicides, all that. Even with his cattle, he doesn't even use ivermectin, because ivermectin, when it falls off the cattle, they use that for pesticides, by the way, it falls onto the ground and destroys the soil. So the farmers that I use, they have no interest in that, right? So they use natural things like sea salt or apple cider vinegar to address issues that might come up. And so it's unbelievable the health of the land. So you get to see that. So it all checks out. So they're vetted by me to ensure that I can make a top quality product. And then once that connection's made, I'm in, Bart, you are doing it the exact way that I need to have it done for a sustainable business, for my clients and my customers to have the best, most optimal health that they can possibly have. And I can create a product that I can feed my family. So that's what it's all about. And then I've been working with Bart Morris and a few others just like him for my product ever since. And that started in 2021, essentially is when that started. And that connection, right? And so now I get those organ meats, they're flash frozen, right? So the nutritional value stays perfectly intact as soon as they're butchered, and then those frozen organs come whole direct to me. I make the cuts and do absolutely everything in-house, right to bottling, labeling, and shipping direct to the consumers. So those connections with my farmers are incredibly old school, right? They're in person, they're handshakes, and that's how it all starts. So it's actually just picking up the phone, starting that conversation, and that's how those relationships began.
Oh, that's great, man. So if people wanted to find out more about you and wanted to buy any of your products, where would they go to?
Yes, let's increase the health of America. Let's support American regenerative farms. Nothing overseas ever. And a supplement business, by the way, that I think that more people should, first of all, know and understand where their food comes from, what's in there. They should also understand where their supplements come from and what's in their supplements. You know, the rest of the supplement industry, good luck going for a tour and seeing what's behind the closed door or closed curtain, right? It's a proprietary blend, so you don't know how much of what active ingredient that you actually think you're buying, that you're getting is. It's not good. There's no transparency in that model. So if any of your listeners or yourself, Lopez, you want to come up to Columbia Falls, I know it's probably a good old hike, but at the end of the day, it's important for me to let you guys know that we have an open door policy. If you ever want a tour here, you want to see how your food is made, come on in. I'll show you exactly how it's made. I'll show you the big, huge liver, the heart, or the kidneys, you know, in our facility, and how it's all done, so you can see and have full transparency, that you can trust that you can feed this to your kids or any family member that you want, right? But if you want more information, just head on over to higherhealths.com. That's higherhealths with an S.com, and you'll get all sorts of information. My email, feel free, direct email, nigel@higherhealths.com. And then you can also follow our social, Higher Healths USA. You'll find us on Instagram and Facebook, and reach out, connect. Any questions, open book over here. It's just real food. So the more that folks can get connected with their food and us, the better. And hopefully we can be a part of your great health.
There you have it. All links will be found in the show notes. Until next time, we're out. Peace.